hidden from the public. In fact, sometimes they are even able to hide it from their own people. I will assure you that there are Planned Parenthood employees and volunteers all over this country who have no idea what they're actually involved in. Then there are other people who will look you right in the face and tell you that racism was not the driving force behind the American eugenics movement. And I think you'd have to be a complete idiot to believe that. The truth is that if blacks had never been stolen out of Africa and brought here in chains, there would never have been a eugenics movement in the first place. There would never have been forced sterilizations. There would never have been a birth control revolution. There would never have been a call for the legalization of abortion. And you would have never heard the terms population control and family planning. The fact is that had slavery never existed, Planned Parenthood would not exist today.
We need to remember that over 60 years ago, a man who could today be called the father of modern-day eugenics proposed that population control clinics be concentrated in minority neighborhoods. And now today, the vast majority of Planned Parenthood clinics are located in our neighborhoods. Are we really so naive to believe that this is all a coincidence? We all know that drugs, alcohol, and tobacco are devastating, especially in the black community. We know that the big corporations target us with the ads and the marketing campaigns. And yet, we don't notice that Planned Parenthood is doing the very same thing? We need to pay attention to the fact that in the 1960s, when we as African Americans began to demand our civil rights, for the first time in American history, there began a widespread cry in our government for legalized abortion. Was that coincidence too? Or could it be that when we said we would no longer sit on the back of the bus, a place was being reserved for us down at the abortion clinic?
For most people, it may be hard to conceive that the ethnic cleansing going on today through legal abortion began with the fear of freed slaves. But as you have seen, that is exactly what happened. When colonization failed, Charles Darwin and Francis Galton were there to tell the world that people of African descent were just one small step above the ape. And white elitists embraced that philosophy, not because they had studied it and found it to be true, but because it gave them the permission they needed to wipe us out. And that launched a chain of events that quickly took on a life of its own. Every time one eugenics strategy failed, another was invented to take its place. It was a pattern that would be continued from one generation to the next until they finally discovered the strategy that worked.
You know, when you study the Nazi Holocaust, you can see these films of Jews running into ditches to be shot in the head. You can even see films of them actually walking into the gas chambers. And it's tempting to ask yourself why they didn't fight back. I mean, if you're going to be killed anyway, what do you have to lose? Perhaps the answer is that they simply could not believe it was really happening. Maybe the normal human mind is just not wired to accept that your fellow man is capable of such senseless brutality on such a scale, even when you see it happening with your own eyes. As African Americans, we need to recognize that we are doing the same thing. We need to understand that terms like pro-choice and reproductive rights and family planning are nothing more than marketing slogans. They're just code words that organizations like Planned Parenthood use to hide the fact that we're voluntarily submitting to the will of those who have been trying to exterminate us since the day slavery ended.
At the beginning of this program, we told you that the MAAFA didn't end with the freeing of the slaves, and that in fact, it hasn't ended yet. Now you've seen the rest of the story. Now you know that legalized abortion is more than just a crime against humanity. It is also the continuation of a 150-year-old racial agenda that was founded in black genocide. And I hope that you have also come to see that as long as abortion remains legal, the MAAFA cannot end. Thanks for watching.
Brothers and sisters, It is time. Yes, it is. Amen. Brothers and sisters, it's time for us to go to the streets on this issue. Yes, it is. Amen. We need to be in the streets on this issue. Amen. If we look the other way, while our smallest brothers and sisters are being lynched in the room, we lose the right to be outraged that we were once lynched by the Klan. When white supremacist Tom Messer tells his followers to invest their money in ghetto abortion clinics, he's not talking about reproductive rights. He's talking about reproductive racism. Yes, he is. When two guys write a book talking about Steve Levette, John Donahue. When two guys, Steve Levette and John Donahue, write a book in which they claim that the high rate of abortion keeps the rate of crime down, be assured, they know that a vast majority of American abortion clinics are in black neighborhoods. Oh, yes, they do. Oh, yes, they do. Come on. They know they're in the minority neighborhoods. What we need to understand that when we let Planned Parenthood into our schools, when Planned Parenthood put their death camps, when we let them put their death camps in black communities, in our communities, that's right. And when we sit back and let an elected government official take money out of our paycheck to pay Planned Parenthood, we have been played like fools. Oh, yes, we have. Jesus. The fact is, if we tolerate something as evil as abortion, we cannot be surprised if it turns around and is used against us. We can't be surprised if it's turned around and used against us. We can't be angry if it's turned around and used against us. Notice for sure, as long as abortion is legal in America, we'll never be able to stop it being used to commit black genocide. That's right. Amen. We'll never be able to use it as a weapon for what I call the MAAFA. The fact is, if we tolerate something as evil as abortion, we cannot be surprised or angry when it's turned against us. Said that one, didn't I? You know it's easy it was easy to spot the enemy when he was a redneck, toothless redneck. Probably spent about 3 years trying to get past the 4th grade. But today, our enemy don't wear white hoods. No, they don't. Come on, man. Today our enemies wear a white lab coat. Yes. With a stethoscope around his neck. Yes. And what gets really aggravating sometimes, like a pimp, sometimes he's black. Come on. And this is not about political parties either, because there's a reason I'm an independent. Both the Republican Party and Democratic Party have been in bed with Jezebel and the eugenics business for more years than you and I have been alive. Come on, that's right. I will also tell you this. Every time we vote for politicians who tell us they are pro-choice, it's like we're spitting on the graves of our ancestors. Our ancestors did not break the chains of slavery. No, they didn't. They didn't escape the plantations and the cotton field just so we could actually then take power and give it to political people who are there to wipe us out. Jesus. That's right. Amen. We need to remember why there were civil rights groups that fought against abortion in the 60s. That's right.